So it's been a while. 5 months to be exact. I'm very sorry. Sorry for not posting for so long. I've had uni work to do. I'm lazy. Also, the thought of me having to spend like an hour editing this after literally makes me want to invert my ribcage. So ignore any acne or anything. Ignore this double chin that's grown the past year. Not been great. So anyway, I figured the best way I should make a comeback to this channel after 5 months in my arms. After 5 months of being away is by telling you the story of how I was catfished. Now, if you see me looking to the side a lot, it's because I got a script, because I will go on a tangent if I don't write down everything I need to say, and I will forget to say stuff. It all started about 2 years ago, March 2019 sort of time. This was 2 years after me leaving high school. A boy from my school, let's call him Nathan. I don't want to expose him too much, but let's call him Nathan. He kept messaging me on Instagram, you know, acting all like bestie. We're not bestie. We never were bestie. It weirded me out because, here's some context. The only time I'd ever met and spoken to this boy was in year 7 at a Friday after school club. That is the only time. We're in completely different sets. I was in top set, he was in like bottom set. Quick flex on you there. But yeah, I never saw him ever apart from that one time. And then when I started going to sixth form, he would walk past the bus stop that I would wait at to go home. And he'd never speak to me, never look at me, but then I'd go home and he'd like message me and be like, hi, and like pretend we were best friends. But we weren't. And it would freak me out a little bit. He keeps sending me messages, and after a while I keep getting fed up of him. So I just send him one-word messages, and then eventually I just start leaving him on red because I'm like, I can't be bothered with him. Like, we're not friends. We never were friends. I don't want to be his friend because, quite frankly, you weird me out. And he had this whole like fake nice guy thing going on. Girls know what I'm talking about. But they're like, no, he never likes me because but I'm like a nice guy and it's really unfair. No. There's a reason girls don't like you. Nice guys don't call themselves nice guys, let's just say that much. So, cut to September 2019 time. He asked me why. I'm gonna try and insert as many screenshots as I can because I managed to save all the messages. Like, blocking them means you can still see the messages, which, thank God. He sends me a message and he's asking me why I never replied to him. And like why I stopped replying to him. And I say it's just because I don't want to. And he gives me the good old K. And then several times after that, he just keeps sending me messages. I still leave him on red, but he's still trying, he's still persistent. Leave me alone. He still doesn't get the hint. He messages me on my birthday saying happy birthday. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be polite here and just say thanks. Because he didn't have to say happy birthday to me, but he did. So I'm like, thank you. He sees this as an opportunity to like keep going and keep being persistent. And I'm like, I really should not have replied to him and said thank you, but I did anyway, but I shouldn't have. Anyway, and he continues to send me messages. I continue to leave him on red. Does this sound weird to anyone else? I don't feel like I'm... Anyway, January of 2020 rolls around. And this is where things starting to get weird. He messages me asking me if we can talk. And he goes on to explain how he's been like kicked out of college and asks me about uni because I started uni September 2019. And then and then all of a sudden in the middle of the conversation he asked me if I'm still single, which first of all, rude. And second of all, why are you asking? I mean, I know why you're asking, but why are you asking? And he says he's just curious. Once again, tries several more times to talk to me. I leave him on red because he just gives me weird vibes. And I'm glad I had that intuition. And then the last time I speak to him on his actual account is on March the 1st of 2020. He messages me, hey, leave him on red. And then once he realizes he's been left on red again, he messages me and he says, you're like the rest now, thought you were different. What made you think you were entitled to my time and my conversation? I don't know you. I've spoken to you once. He doesn't know how to take no for an answer, and that is a major red flag. And I'm glad that I've managed to like cut him out of my life. I'm glad I don't talk to him anymore, and I'm glad he doesn't talk to me. Second of all, how do you know if I've changed if we never talked in the first place? Just a bit weird to me. So then later that day I get followed by this account, and I can't remember what the account was called. I think I've got a screenshot somewhere on my phone. I'll just call it Tom for now. It might say a different name by the time I find a screenshot, but I'll just call it Tom. I get a message from it as soon as I like follow it back, because at first the account seemed really innocent. I didn't see anything bad with it. I just looked at it and was like, It messages me, right? And I think I get the message like as soon as I get the message from Nathan telling me that I've changed. So I get the message from this Tom account, and we get talking, and I think like the second message he sends me is asking me if I'm single. And I'm like, okay, immediate red flag. And I notice he's talking like Nathan as well over text, like similar style. I'm immediately sus. I'm interested to see how the conversation goes. I'm like, let's see if I can suss this out. I put on my little Neven Max helmet and I get ready to like suss this dude out. We have like a general small talk conversation. He asks, we talk about like age, the unis we go to, like what college we went to, where we're from, yada yada yada, all that stuff. He calls me pretty, which thank you for the ego boost, but yeah, he compliments me, and then he asked me how tall I am. I don't know why that weirded me out as much as it did, but why would you ask that? And I need you to remember that this is Nathan talking as Tom. So when I ask him about his height, he says he's 5'7". That's a lie, because Nathan is at least 5'3". So he's not even like using his own attributes to pretend to be Tom. He's completely lying. Like, he seems like he's trying to cater to my type to get me to say yes to him. Which, doesn't that sound like majorly red flaggish to you? Like, oh, look at that, what's that baby in the distance? Red flag. This means that, like, Nathan created a whole new account with new pictures, a new profile picture, new name, new bio, everything, just to talk to me after I rejected him on his other account. Weird. So then, here's what put the nail in the coffin, is that Nathan, as Tom, asks me about Nathan the day that I leave Nathan on red. And he talks about Nathan as if it's his friend, it's him. And I'm sat there laughing to myself because I'm like, he really must be stupid if he thinks he's pulling a fast one on me. He definitely is an idiot. He was like set 8, but like, come on. And he tells me that like, oh, like you don't talk to Nathan much. Like, why is that? And I'm like, why are you asking? Like, how do you even know Nathan? Like, like try to like dig him out. And he's like, oh, I went to the same college as Nathan. And I'm like, in my head I'm like, that doesn't add up, because Tom's Instagram bio said he had graduated from Oxford already. Remember that Nathan, as Tom, told me he was 20. This isn't adding up. So try and put some screenshots up as well to show you that I'm not lying, because I was literally sat there like feeling like I was on an episode of Catfish. I was like, oh my god, this is weird. He's making up lame excuses as to how he could have gone to Oxford but still live in my area. And I'm like getting fed up, and I'm starting to give like one-word answers and stuff. Because like, if you're gonna try and catfish me, you have to be convincing. Come on now. And then he asked me if I think he's hot. I'm like, ugh, whatever, but I'll play along. And then he tells me that he likes me. And at this point, I think that Nathan had forgot he was trying to catfish me on the Tom account. And as much as I love having my ego stroked, I was getting frustrated. I literally, I told him, I was like, dude, you followed me this morning and we've only just started talking. And then he starts to ask me about my high school, and then he brings up Nathan again. And how much I don't talk to him and how much I, ignore his messages. I'm trying to catch him out. So I'm like, why do you care so much about me talking to Nathan? I keep catching my posture, sorry. So I ask him about why he cares so much that I'm not talking to Nathan, and he's like, oh, he's a nice guy. You know what I mean? So now I'm fed up, and I'm in the mood to be mean. I'm in the mood to hurt someone's feelings. So I tell Tom that I literally don't know Nathan. I don't know him. And he's like, well, maybe you should get to know him. And I'm like, oh my god. Ask why he should, and he comes back with the same, like, oh, he's a nice guy spiel. I like say some stuff, and then Tom says that Nathan was blocked by another girl because she claimed that he had spammed her, and that Tom had seen the messages and it wasn't like that. And I know for a fact that that is a lie, because that exact girl posted on her Snapchat story all the messages and all like the missed calls that Nathan had given her. He had even emailed her school email to get in contact with her because she'd blocked him on everything. Someone say Joe Goldberg, because that's what I'm getting from this. So as he's like trying to like dig himself out the hole, I start doing research. I look at his profile and notice that he's got 3 pictures up, and each picture is of a different dude. So I immediately run to Google to try and find out who the pictures are of. I knew they weren't of Nathan. I just wanted to like gather the proof, get some screenshots to like throw it in his face so he couldn't be like, no. One of the pictures is of a guy called Manu Rios. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. He's like an influencer, and one of the other pictures is one of the first images that comes up on Google Images if you search in guy with glasses. Pathetic and lame attempt at being a catfish, babe. It's just sloppy. Like, do better if you're gonna be convincing. I send him all the screenshots. I confront him with all the information. I tell him that he's too young to have gone to Oxford and graduated. His story doesn't make sense, it's not adding up. I tell him how ridiculous it is that he made a new profile just to talk to me because I wouldn't talk to him on his other one. He still tries to like put up the facade, and I'm like, I am tired of this. I think I literally say I'm over this, and then I block him. And then I block not just the Tom account, but his normal Nathan account. And then on that same night of March the 1st, 2020, a new account comes up in my message requests on Instagram. And it's Nathan. I'm very annoyed and I'm over the whole situation. So seeing him create another account to message me is sending me over the edge. I just want him to leave me alone. The obsession is weird. And he messages me and he says, please can I just say something before you block me again? And I tell him to F off. Like, literally. I'm like, no, I'm done with this. And block that account as well. You would think that's the end of the story, but it's not. A few months later, I'm relaying the story to my little sister just because we're having like one of those sessions where we tell stories and I'm like, girl things. So I was telling her the story, and then she's like, okay, I'm gonna go block those accounts as well, just to make sure he's not like spying on me, or like to make sure he doesn't message me or anything, like precaution stuff. She goes to Nathan's account, blocks him, goes to the Tom account, blocks it, although I'm pretty sure the Tom account is like completely like empty now, so I'm gonna have to use like old screenshots for that profile. And then she goes to the third account, and I noticed something different about it, because when it first messaged me there was nothing on it, no pictures or anything. When my sister went on it, there was 2 pictures on it. The pictures were neither Nathan or the fake Tom pictures. Oh no. They were 2 pictures that had been stolen from the Instagram of one of my classmates from high school. How desperate. How weird. This other classmate I'm going to call Riley. So I'm like in shock. I like almost have a heart attack seeing this. I'm like, alright. So I get my sister to take a screenshot because I've got him blocked and I don't want to unblock him just in case. She takes a screenshot, blocks the account, sends me the screenshot, and then I go on Snapchat and send Riley the screenshot of his photos being used. I'm just like, hey, just a heads up, there's this guy from our high school, you probably remember him, he's called Nathan, using your photos to catfish people. He's tried it on me 3 times. And he's like, that's really weird, thank you for telling me, I'll see what I can do about it. As far as I know the account's not down, but I don't know if the pictures have been taken down. Hopefully they have. I think I reported his account for being a catfish, but nothing's been done about it. And there we have it, folks. That is the time that someone from my high school tried and failed miserably to catfish me.
One day I just wanna hear you say